On July 15, 2047, the scientific community was shaken to its core. Dr. Sarah Chen, lead researcher at the Solar Observation Network, detected something impossible within our sun, patterns that defied every known law of physics. At first, her colleagues dismissed it as equipment malfunction. But the patterns persisted, and they were moving with purpose. "What we're seeing isn't just random plasma movement," Dr. Chen announced at the emergency conference. "These are organized structures maintaining their form despite being inside a nuclear furnace. They're not just surviving in there, they're thriving." The evidence was undeniable. The plasma structures, some larger than Earth itself, moved against solar currents, formed complex geometric patterns, and even seemed to respond to changes in the sun's magnetic field. They weren't random formations, they were alive. Critics argued it was impossible. No known form of matter could maintain structural integrity at millions of degrees. But as more solar observatories confirmed the findings, the truth became impossible to ignore. Humanity had discovered the first truly alien life form, and it was living in the last place anyone expected, inside our very own star. The structures exhibited behaviors that could only be described as intentional. They absorbed solar energy in precise patterns, replicated themselves during solar flares, and even appeared to communicate through modulations in the sun's magnetic field. What we were witnessing wasn't just a new form of life. It was an entirely new definition of what life could be. For centuries, our definition of life was simple: biological organisms based on carbon chemistry, requiring water, and operating within a narrow range of temperatures and conditions. Even the most extreme life forms we knew, the heat-loving bacteria in volcanic vents or organisms surviving the vacuum of space, still followed these basic rules. Then came the discoveries that began to shake our understanding. In 2025, scientists found bacteria thriving 12 miles beneath Earth's surface, consuming nothing but rock and radioactive particles. In 2035, we discovered organisms in the stratosphere that could survive direct solar radiation while suspended in near-vacuum conditions. But these discoveries, remarkable as they were, still operated within the fundamental framework of carbon-based life. They still needed some form of chemical metabolism, still reproduced through DNA or RNA, still followed the basic rules of biological evolution. The plasma beings in our sun shattered every one of these rules. Here was life without carbon, without DNA, without cellular structure. These entities existed in a state that would vaporize even the most resilient Earth organism in less than a microsecond. They didn't just survive in the sun. They were made of the same material as the sun itself. This discovery forced us to completely reimagine what life could be. If creatures could evolve to thrive in the core of a star, what other impossible places might harbor life? What other fundamental forces of nature could serve as the basis for existence? The universe suddenly seemed far more alive than we had ever imagined, and our search for life would never be the same. The first detailed observations of the stellar plasma beings revealed structures that defied conventional physics. Their bodies consisted of contained plasma, shaped into crystalline lattices that somehow maintained stability despite the sun's chaotic environment. These structures, ranging from the size of Earth to as large as Jupiter, displayed an intricate geometric precision that spoke of conscious design rather than random formation. The being's outer layers create what scientists call a magnetic bottle, a self-sustaining force field that contains their plasma form. This same technology has eluded our fusion researchers for decades, yet these creatures do it instinctively. Their method of energy manipulation is perhaps their most extraordinary feature. These beings don't simply exist within the sun, they actively farm it. Observations show them creating controlled magnetic channels, literally herding plasma streams into more energetic states. They appear to feed off of the resulting energy differentials, much like how Earth organisms exploit chemical gradients for energy. What's more remarkable is their ability to store this energy. The crystalline structures in their core act like massive batteries, allowing them to store stellar energy in a concentrated form we didn't think possible. This explains how they can maintain their form even during solar minimums. Their reproduction process challenges everything we know about life cycles. During powerful solar flares, these beings can split their magnetic containment fields, creating smaller versions of themselves. The offspring begin as simple geometric shapes, but over time, weeks in solar terms, though this means years in Earth time, they grow more complex, developing the intricate lattice patterns of their parents. But not all survive this process. Young plasma beings must quickly learn to maintain their magnetic fields, or they dissolve back into the solar plasma. Scientists estimate only about 1 in 10 survives to maturity, a harsh survival rate that has driven their remarkable evolution. Perhaps most intriguing is their interaction with solar systems as a whole. These beings appear to actively maintain their star's stability. They prevent harmful magnetic buildups that could lead to devastating solar flares, essentially acting as a stellar immune system. This discovery led to a startling hypothesis. What if stars with stable magnetic fields harbor these life forms, while more erratic stars are essentially dead systems, lacking these crucial custodians? The implications are staggering. If these plasma beings deliberately maintain stellar stability, they might be the universe's most important life form, essential to the very existence of planets like Earth. We're not just sharing our solar system with them, we might owe our existence to their constant invisible work. After the discovery of stellar plasma beings, scientists began looking for life in other extreme environments. Jupiter's Great Red Spot, a storm that has raged for centuries, seemed suspiciously stable. In 2048, the Europa Deep Space Observatory captured something extraordinary: organized patterns within the chaos of Jupiter's storms. These weren't just random atmospheric movements. The patterns showed purpose, with complex structures forming and reforming in the violent winds. What we were seeing were vast creatures, some spanning thousands of kilometers, literally swimming through Jupiter's atmosphere. Unlike their stellar cousins, these gas giant dwellers exist in distinct layers of Jupiter's atmosphere. The upper beings, dubbed wind riders, are massive but delicate, using Jupiter's jet streams like oceanic currents. Their bodies are semi-transparent, composed of compressed gases that can rapidly change density to move between atmospheric layers. Deeper in the atmosphere, where pressures would crush any Earth-based spacecraft, we found the storm shepherds. These more compact creatures actually generate and maintain the massive storms they inhabit, using the energy differentials to power their metabolism. The Great Red Spot isn't just a storm, it's their equivalent of a coral reef. Most fascinating is their chemical metabolism. These beings don't just exist within the storms, they actively process Jupiter's atmosphere, breaking down complex molecules for energy. They're responsible for the constant chemical reactions that give Jupiter's bands their distinctive colors. Each layer of the atmosphere hosts different species specialized for the unique chemical composition at that level. But perhaps most remarkable is their collective behavior. The storm shepherds work in synchronized patterns to maintain their massive atmospheric habitats. They're not just individuals. They're part of a vast, planet-spanning network of creatures that effectively regulate Jupiter's entire atmospheric system. This discovery forced us to reconsider every gas giant in our galaxy. What we once thought were simply turbulent balls of gas might actually be complex ecosystems, each layer hosting its own unique form of life. These aren't just planets, they're living worlds, their atmospheres carefully maintained by vast creatures we're only beginning to understand. In 2049, astronomers noticed something impossible around the supermassive black hole at the center of the Andromeda Galaxy. The accretion disk, the swirling matter around the black hole, showed organized patterns that defied gravitational models. Matter wasn't just falling in, it was being deliberately manipulated. Further observation revealed entities existing in the most extreme environment imaginable, the event horizon of a black hole itself. These beings, which we now call black hole symbionts, had evolved to use gravity itself as their primary force of existence. These creatures exist in a state that challenges our understanding of physics. They appear to be composed of exotic matter, allowing them to survive in regions where normal matter would be torn apart. Their bodies create localized gravitational fields that protect them from the black hole's immense forces, similar to how plasma beings maintain their magnetic containment. What's most extraordinary is their relationship with time itself. Near the event horizon, time dilation becomes extreme. What we observe as minutes could be years or even centuries for these beings. They experience reality at a fundamentally different temporal scale, allowing them to perform complex operations that appear instantaneous to our observers. Their most remarkable ability is how they process information. These beings use the black hole itself as a quantum computer of unprecedented power. They manipulate matter falling into the black hole to encode and process information, effectively using the event horizon as a computational surface. A single black hole symbiont may possess more processing power than all of humanity's computers combined. They appear to communicate through precisely controlled gravitational waves, creating ripples in space-time that carry complex messages. These waves can travel across galaxies, suggesting a vast network of information exchange between black hole systems throughout the universe. Perhaps most intriguing is their multi-dimensional nature. These beings show signs of existing partially in dimensions beyond our normal space-time. They can apparently move through these higher dimensions, using the black hole's intense gravitational field as an anchor point. This ability may explain how they avoid being drawn into the black hole itself. They simply step sideways when necessary. The implications are staggering. These creatures aren't just surviving near black holes. They're using them as tools, as computers, as communication networks. Every supermassive black hole in the universe might be not just a gravitational phenomenon, but the home of an advanced civilization operating on scales of space, time, and complexity that we're only beginning to comprehend. In 2050, the Quantum Array Telescope detected unusual magnetic patterns emanating from a nearby neutron star. These weren't the regular pulsar beats astronomers expected. They were complex, organized signals that suggested intentional modification of the star's magnetic field. We had discovered yet another impossible form of life. Neutron star colonies exist in an environment where a teaspoon of matter weighs as much as Mount Everest. These beings have evolved to exist in a state of matter so dense that atomic nuclei touch, forming vast crystalline structures across the neutron star's surface. Unlike other extreme life forms we've discovered, neutron star colonies exist as a singular networked entity. Their bodies are actually vast arrays of quantum-entangled particles, organized into crystalline patterns that span entire regions of the neutron star's crust. Each colony functions as a massive quantum computer, with consciousness emerging from the collective quantum states of countless entangled particles. These beings don't just survive in the extreme magnetic fields of neutron stars, they thrive on them. They use the intense magnetism to maintain their quantum coherence, something that would be impossible under normal conditions. The entire neutron star acts as a quantum preservation system for their consciousness. Their method of reproduction is unlike anything we've seen before. When a colony reaches a certain complexity, it can split its quantum network, creating a new consciousness within the same crystalline structure. These offspring begin as simple quantum patterns but gradually develop into full colonial networks, inheriting the quantum states of their parent colony. Most remarkable is their ability to process information. The quantum nature of their existence allows them to perform calculations at speeds that make our fastest supercomputers look primitive. A single colony can process more information in a second than humanity has in its entire history. These colonies have effectively turned entire neutron stars into living quantum computers. Each pulsar we observe might not just be a stellar remnant. It could be a vast, living intelligence, processing information at quantum scales, communicating through modulated magnetic fields that span light years. We're not just finding life in extreme places. We're finding intelligence beyond our comprehension. With the discovery of these extreme life forms came humanity's greatest challenge. How do you communicate with beings that experience reality so differently from us? Our first attempts were with the stellar plasma beings, using controlled magnetic pulses to mirror their natural communication patterns. The breakthrough came when we realized we needed to think in their timescale. What appeared to us as rapid magnetic fluctuations were actually slow, deliberate messages to them. By slowing our transmission rate to match their perception of time, we established our first meaningful contact. Communication with gas giant dwellers proved easier, as they operate on time scales closer to ours. We used chemical tracers released into Jupiter's atmosphere, mimicking their natural chemical exchanges. Their response was immediate. Complex chemical cascades that our computers took weeks to decode, but which contained clear mathematical patterns. The black hole symbionts, however, required something far more exotic. We learned to communicate using precisely controlled gravitational waves, similar to their natural language. A single message might take months to send, but to them, operating in their time-dilated state, our communications arrived as coherent conversations. The neutron star colonies presented the ultimate challenge. Their quantum-based consciousness operates in ways our linear thinking can't fully grasp. We developed quantum entanglement arrays to match their communication methods, effectively creating a quantum-to-digital translation system. Each successful exchange reveals thoughts so complex they take our best AI systems years to process. What we've learned is humbling. These beings don't just communicate, they share entire states of existence. What we think of as language is, to them, a primitive approximation of true communication. They don't just exchange information, they exchange experiences, quantum states, and even consciousness patterns. The discovery of extreme life forms has completely revolutionized our understanding of science. Our definition of life itself has undergone a radical transformation. We now know that life doesn't require DNA, cellular structure, or even what we traditionally think of as matter. Life, in its most fundamental form, is any self-organizing system that can maintain its complexity against entropy. This new definition has forced us to rewrite physics textbooks. The plasma beings showed us new ways to contain and manipulate energy fields. The gas giant dwellers revealed previously unknown principles of fluid dynamics and atmospheric chemistry. Each discovery has opened new doors in our understanding of the universe. Perhaps the most profound impact has been on our understanding of consciousness. The neutron star colonies proved that consciousness can exist in quantum states, while the black hole symbionts demonstrated that awareness can transcend normal space-time limitations. These discoveries have unified quantum physics with consciousness studies, creating an entirely new field, quantum biosemiotics. The energy-matter relationship has been completely redefined. We now know that life can exist as organized energy states without traditional matter, or in states of matter so extreme they behave more like pure energy. The distinction between living and non-living systems has become less about chemical composition and more about organizational complexity. These discoveries have also revolutionized our understanding of evolution. We now know that life can evolve in any environment that provides energy gradients to exploit. The plasma beings evolved to harvest stellar energy, the gas giant dwellers evolved to process atmospheric chemistry, and the black hole symbionts evolved to harness gravitational energy itself. Most significantly, we've learned that the universe is far more alive than we ever imagined. What we once thought were just astronomical phenomena, stars, gas giants, black holes, neutron stars, are actually potential cradles of life, each hosting beings as complex and conscious as ourselves, just in forms we're only beginning to understand. As we look to the future, our priorities have shifted dramatically. Every space telescope now includes quantum detection arrays designed to spot signs of extreme life. We're developing new instruments that can detect subtle patterns in gravity waves, magnetic fields, and energy states that might indicate the presence of these extraordinary beings. The International Extreme Life Research Initiative has already identified 50 potential new sites of exotic life forms, from previously overlooked patterns in white dwarf stars to unusual stability in galactic cores. Each discovery brings new questions and possibilities. Communication technology is advancing rapidly. We're developing quantum interface systems that might allow direct consciousness exchange with neutron star colonies. Prototype gravity wave modulators could enable real-time conversations with black hole symbionts. These technologies aren't just scientific tools. They're bridges between fundamentally different forms of existence. But with these advances come serious ethical considerations. How do we ensure we're not disrupting these ancient and complex ecosystems? The plasma beings have maintained our sun's stability for billions of years. The gas giant dwellers have created complex atmospheric systems that might be crucial to planetary development. We must learn to interact without interfering. The potential applications are staggering. Understanding how plasma beings contain stellar material could revolutionize fusion power. The quantum processing capabilities of neutron star colonies might lead to unprecedented computational breakthroughs. The gravity manipulation abilities of black hole symbionts could transform our understanding of space travel. But perhaps most importantly, we're learning our place in a much more diverse and alive universe than we ever imagined. These beings aren't just scientific curiosities. They're our cosmic neighbors, and learning to coexist with them may be humanity's greatest challenge and opportunity.